So, hi, I'm Julie. So, what is the challenge? The challenge is, speaker Bertrand, is to take all the data of the reports and to transport on an interactive map. And that is very important because this map could be more accessible for the public. And is, for this challenge, we need your ideas, we need all the things you can add to make sure this map would be interactive, accessible, and nice we would like to use it. And which is also very important is where the public can find this map. The first space is the next exhibition, temporary exhibition here in the MAG, Remembering. And this map would be also accessible on the platform, web platform of the exhibition, but also on a website on the city of Geneva. So we were very pleased if we come with us to do this challenge. Thank you.
So I brought two challenges today. That's the first one. Maybe some of you have already read about it, heard about it. At the Open Data Association, we're now in the process of creating a new working group, also kind of in the field of culture. But we decided to loosely couple it to the GLAM working group because it's about event data. It's about open event data. We have currently a strong focus on cultural event data, cultural agendas, etc. But it's generally open to all kinds of events. And one important aspect in there, which we've also added from the outside, from the outset to our focus, is accessibility of events. And this means, on one hand, accessibility of venues, but also then the events themselves. And thinking about events, we can also think about them largely like museum exhibitions would also be a form of complex events. So the challenge will be about exploring how we can represent like top-level accessibility data on Wikidata and then link into specialized databases for accessibility. We're concretely cooperating with Pro Infirmis and the new CITIOS organization, which is actually a merger of 3 different initiatives in the area of building accessibility description. But at some point, we would also like to extend that to cover accessibility of concrete events, think about performing arts, etc. So we kind of currently in the group focus maybe a bit more on theaters when it comes to venues, but you're invited here also you're absolutely welcome also to have a different focus, maybe focus on Geneva buildings, maybe focus on museums. It's also about modeling, data modeling on Wikidata when it comes to buildings. Like we have here one museum, but with several buildings that may not have the same accessibility characteristics in place. So have a look at the challenge description. I won't be much longer here. I'm happy to also talk to you if you're interested in this challenge.
Hello, good morning. My name is Gala HMM. I am here with Floriane. She will present the number 3 and the proposal on my respect. I am a co-founder of the project Noircir Wikipedia, which means blackening Wikipedia in French, and so I am an art historian and Wikimedian, and the objective with this challenge it would be to create ethics, to be aware of, to think and reflect about the ethic with the fact of uploading data information in the open movement. So just think about the fairness and the ethics. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gala. So you already know me. And this challenge is like a huge pot of I don't know what, because I'm not coming from the open data world, and what we really wanted to do here is to exchange and dialogue with you, and to share our knowledge and yours to create something to decolonize the inventories. I say something because I have no idea what you're capable of with us and how it could be materialized. But what I know is that our database, even if it's always transformed, contains a lot of problems and offensive terms or racist descriptions. This is one point. The other is, as Grégoire showed you, those inventory sheets are connected to the original registers. And those ones are really full of descriptions that are contextualizing the provenance of the object, but also very violently. And this is not what you see on the inventory sheets. It's another layer of information. And this one should be also decolonized and maybe announced with disclaimers and maybe also analyzed. I could be very interested in a program that could calculate what is existing and not in this inventory, how people are invisible, how authors, creators are not presented. So all the silences also that could be shown in that way. So it's not clear, but I really hope you could join us and try to do something about that with Gala and me. And the team, Karine Durand, will also discuss with you. We will be all interested with exchanging.
Thank you, really on time, perfect. The number 4 is here. Do you want the mic or something?
No, it's okay.
Okay, the challenge number 4 is related to the data set that I presented before. The maps from the collection Magnificent Atlases with Title Cartouches. Just forward this one slide. So the maps in this data set contain title cartouches and other figurative representations that may be expressions of a colonial gaze. And the challenge is, can you identify and maybe extract the image regions containing those representations? The result of the challenge could, for example, be a digital exhibition, maybe based on IIIF. I made a minimalistic example. So there is a tool called Exhibit that enables you to create an image slideshow with annotations to tell a story. So you could create a story on the title cartouche in the map data set. Or just maybe provide a IIIF-based resource that allows researchers to annotate the title cartouche later. So this is the minimalistic example of a possible outcome. And the second challenge is also related to the other data set that I presented before. So the data set Early Modern Travel Literature from the Central Library of Zurich. And here the challenge is, can you identify and contextualize colonial traces in these French and German texts from the 16th and to 19th century, For instance, could you look for mentions of geographical regions, different languages, certain ethnicities, or words belonging to the semantic fields of, like, the concept of the noble savage, for instance, slavery, representations of dominance, or hierarchies and structures of control. My name is Annabelle, and if you want to work on one of these challenges, please come talk to me.
Thank you. Next, please, number 5, and maybe number 6, 7, and 8, and 9 could also be ready. So it's number 5 here? 5. 5 is here also, okay. Okay, 4 and 5. Then 6, please. And could number 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 please come forward, just to be ready that we don't lose too much time. Thank you so much.
We haven't.
Should I just leave it like that?
Yeah, it's okay, perfect. So hi everyone, my name is Sarah. We're here to present you the challenge entitled Indigenous Peoples in Museum Catalogs. So as you know, in the problem we have with catalogs is about indigenous names, because there are a lot of names chosen by colonists, settlers, and imposed to indigenous peoples during the different periods since the colonialism started. So the aim of this challenge is to link the actual inventory, the max inventory catalogs, with a proper name chosen by indigenous peoples today, according to the UN Declaration on Rights on Indigenous Peoples.
Yeah. An important notion in what we call UNDRIP is the self-determination of indigenous peoples, which means that they're entitled to be named after the name that they have been chosen themselves. And in the collections, many of these names were given by the colonialists, or the people that took the items, the pictures, or everything. So to give you a few examples, some of the names like Eskimo or Lapon in French are considered as very racist and nowadays by these peoples, because they want to be called Inuits or Sami. So it should be changed. Sometimes also you have very generic names like Pygmy, which is a very generic name that also can be considered as racist by some of these peoples. And in fact, they have more precise names in the general Pygmy people. You have Baka, Bageli, Batwa. So yeah, that's the general idea. And my colleague here, and Charlotte, is also here to help if you have questions. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Now number 7.
Thank you. So it is a challenge basing on the Chinese paintings, right? So there was a research being done quite extensively on those stamps that you can see here. One example, you can also see it's very small on the right side. There are more stamps. The problem is this research ended up in a PDF on the website with a list of stamps and names attached to it. And in the database of the museum, they are linked with the objects, but it is not publicly available to actually get a grasp of what research has been done. So the challenge is very open. It's really just, these are just some ideas that one could do. So, of course, locating those stamps in the images would be something. Of course, the bonus would be to locate any stamp on any painting, but I don't know if that's even feasible. Of course, we also want to have information shown on those stamps. Maybe there's an interactive way. You click on a stamp and you see what kind of stamp it is, who it belonged to. Exactly. There's also information in the data set, and these stamps are connected to those provenance entries. So a possibility would be to connect this and make it visual and interactive, to get away from this PDF and text form that is good to convey some information to experts, but not to non-experts. That's kind of the network of the data set, and you see it's kind of all over the place. So the challenge is, how can you make that interactive, make it visual? Yeah, so I'm still in time. Get wild, get creative, get inventive, and I'm open to any ideas. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was number 7. Everyone respect the time, really nice. We're now at number 8, GLAMhack objects.
Okay, so this challenge is all about object provenances, right? Typically, in the MEG metadata, we have a lot of names that are linked to objects. Somebody who maybe sold the objects, the story of how it came to be that that object is in the MEG collections, right? Typically, when we want to go further than that, further than what's already in the MEG metadata, we go back to the letters I talked to you earlier about. And so this is the challenge, is linking the names that are found in the MEG metadata that Grégoire talked about previously with the names that are the person who exchanged the letters. So basically, okay, I have this object, how did it enter the MEG collection? Okay, this person exchanged about it or sold it to the MEG. How can I find more? Are there letters that he exchanged with the MEG so we can establish more information about provenance, right? What's the challenge? This is all full text names, right? There is no authority control. So we have names in the MEG metadata and we have names in the letters list. So this is how we can link those. Maybe we need to link the names of the people who sent or received the letters to some other source, Wikidata or something else. But basically, anything we can do to help the MEG establish provenance would be welcome in this challenge. So this is identifying a big list of names, 30,000 names, with the names that are found in the MEG metadata. So if you're an open refine genius or something, please take this challenge and help us do that. Thank you.
Thank you. This was number 8. Now number 9, please, and could maybe number 10, 11, 12 already come forward.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this challenge I'm presenting right now is about, of course, now machine learning and artificial intelligence, like everyone's talking about it. This challenge really applies to how this could work with provenance data. It, to some extent, might seem simple, but actually it's still quite tricky on a technical side. So the idea is to take provenance data that often is available only in string formats, as an example by a project that was done by Alice with Florian from an object here from the museum in Geneva. The idea is to take this information, which is very easily human readable, but to transform it in a structured format, to parse it into something that can be read by computers, which can be used for making interactive visualizations we use for research, or whatever the idea of the different projects could be. It's quite open to what kind of data sets can be used. I provided some examples, but also depending on who's working on it, we can use data sets from different institutions. And the first step would be to parse the information from the string format to actual a structured data format. An additional bonus part would be to expand this knowledge by tapping into Wikidata. So once we identify different data points, accessing Wikidata to see if maybe we have information about like an art trader or an institution where this can be tied to geographical information to actually do a mapping or whatever. So it's like really formulated in a quite open way. And like really the bonus if like this is done within some short time would be to like also maybe make an interactive tool with which anyone can use no matter what their technical skills are, but that's rather like then maybe the second layer of the challenge that can be added next year. And so for the AI recognition, I did some like first tests with ChatGPT, of course, which works quite well. It still messes stuff up, but it would really be nice to work with like open source tools, like not like working into this, but this is just an example of how like already it works up to a certain extent, and then really it needs to be tweaked a little bit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now number 10, right? Grégoire.
I told you that each object is connected with a register, historical register. It's true, but we have a problem with the manuscript register because this one is not authorized. Donc, we are not able right now to make a connection with the right page of the right register. Le registre manuscrit donc, se présente ainsi. Donc là, par exemple, le numéro 17, il y en a 18 en tout. Donc on a sur la colonne de droite ici une liste de numéros d'inventaire d'objets qu'il s'agit de connecter avec la page 1620 du registre 17. Donc on a besoin d'ossériser cette page pour pouvoir créer un tableau de métadonnées qui met en relation le numéro de l'objet avec le numéro de la page et le numéro du registre. Et dans un deuxième temps, si on est capable d'ossériser cette page, on pourrait tout aussi bien ossériser l'ensemble du texte présent ici, de façon à nourrir la table registre dont on parlait tout à l'heure. Donc ce serait le champ couche OCR qui pourrait recevoir l'ensemble de ces mots-clés. Voilà, j'ai fini.
Merci beaucoup. Now number 11, maybe 12, 13, 14, and so on. Please make sure you're ready. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas. I'm from the University of Applied Science of the Grisons in Chur, and my challenge is not about a collection, about a vast amount of data. It is about one single specific object. This is a so-called ostracon, a rock, a piece of rock, of limestone discovered by a team of archaeologists from the University of Basel in Egypt in the Valley of the Kings. And it is the world's first known timekeeping instrument, the world's first sundial. That my personal challenge is to make this object available to you all, functional and interactive, in order to show what is so interesting about this object. And my specific needs are in the field of astronomy, or Egyptology. So I would need some advice in math, in astronomy, and in, if anybody of you is capable of reading hieroglyphs, your help, your support is very much welcome. So this is it. Thank you.
Really nice, thank you. Number 12, just in case you wondered where the other posters are, they are outside. So you'll find the higher numbers outside. So number 12, please.
So, hi, I'm Morris. I work for a project that is called Digitales Schaudepot on the University of Basel, and our challenge is called Telling a Different Story, a new reading of subalternity in notebooks. So we brought you a corpus of notebooks of different formats that never have been explored. They were used by the ethnologist Felix Speiser to collect data during his fieldwork in Vanuatu from 1910 to 1912. After returning to Basel, he spent years to manage his data and allocate it to museum categories. A new reading of those notebooks provided a unique opportunity to reconsider and finally decolonize Felix Speiser's legacy. We want to reach out to communities and other stakeholders in Vanuatu to work with the Speiser archive and create a platform for exchange. So our challenge is, how can this extensive material be tamed and its mostly unknown content be made accessible so that not only the museum can work with it? So it's a quite open question, a challenge that we want to explore with you. And we want to make the notebooks accessible. And we would be very interested in being able to search for certain key terms, such as toponyms, people names, travel routes, but also data on objects, certain cluster of words, colonial content, or architectural features, to name a few examples.
Hi, my name is Basil Bucher. I'm a provenance researcher at the Museum der Kultur in Basel, and I will introduce to you the data material shortly. It covers around 1 shelf meter, and it has different genres in it, so like notebook diaries from Felix Speiser, also some more problematic material like anthropometric charts or tables. We've been able to digitize a lot of, or the whole corpus, and they are available as PDF, JPEG, and TIFF formats. And we also transcribed a small part of it, so this is also available. The most challenging part after getting it digitized is Felix Speiser's handwriting. It's hard to read. And now I just want to show you some examples from our sample, from our data set. There is a publication also available with name index, with a map. Here you see part of his diary, which he wrote during his travels. And you also see the handwriting, also some notes he took. We also have some links to maybe, or we hope to the collection itself, like this sketch from an object. There are also some corrections in it, and I see that my time is up. Just please join us in finding new ways to tell different stories from a colonial archive. Short yet, show you the last one because it's. Oh, sorry. This one I wanted to show you. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Number 12.
Thank you so much. This was number 12. 12. This was number 12. So we're coming to number 13, 14, 15, 16. Please be ready. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, my name is Christian. I'm working for the Central Library of Lucerne, and I want to picture a small data set. If you enter the Lucerne Central Library, in the library hall, you are able to see about 260 portraits. I'm not, because I'm missing my glasses, but you can. There's some small paintings, oil on canvas, and those paintings are about the so-called remarkable people from Lucerne, or in German, the merkwürdigen Luzernerinnen and Luzerner. And these are already really remarkable persons, and from those 260 portraits, 240 are already in the public domain. We have digitized those paintings, and they are all available in our repository centralgut.ch, but the 240 public domain paintings I've uploaded already to Wikimedia Commons. And we have already wikified the whole dataset. That means all 260 people are available as Wikidata item about the bibliographic notes. Then we have a small collection of really small bibliographic notes, the so-called kurze Lebensbeschreibungen of those remarkable persons, and we have uploaded the scan of those notes, and we made a Wikisource project to transcribe and double-check those bibliographic notes. And so we are now able to build a really great set or analyze those remarkable persons. So Beat encouraged me to bring in this data set, and first I thought, oh, that has nothing to do with the meta theme of this GLAMhack with colonialism and something. But yesterday, during my long train trip from Lucerne to Geneva, I have this idea, yeah, we have 240 people in the public domain, and some of them have a lot to do with colonialism, because there were some Franciscan monks and Jesuits, and those people, they go abroad from Lucerne. They go to India, they go to Brazil, they go to Mexico, and they have stolen there a lot of things, bring them to Sweden or somewhere else, for example, Buffalo Heights and something like that. And that is something you have no idea if you come to our library and see these brave people on the wall. But if you dive into the data in Wikidata, Wikisource, and Wikipedia, you can bring a lot of bad sides upon which have to do with colonialism and something like. And think maybe you want to join in, and we can dive into this material, bring some visualizations or analysis about, and maybe some other projects can profile from something like we have done now. Yeah, thank you a lot.
Thank you, Christian. This was number 13, also outside, I think. Now number 14, please.
Hi, I'm Emily, and as part of the next temporary exhibition, which will talk about the colonial legacy of our collections at the MEG, the mediation team has created a hands-on interactive installation with the help of two artists, Kalonji and Yvonne Gonzalez. And the idea of the installation was, it's in the part of the exhibition that talks about slavery. And the idea of the installation was to ask people to really come to terms with this history, not in an intellectual way, which you often do in exhibitions, but which also makes you very distant from the story, but with a more emotional part. And so we've kind of been working on this project, and now we would like to make a digital version of it for the online exhibition catalog. So we need people who know how to program, and we need people who are creative and can input ideas on how we can make this work well, 2D and not only in the physical realm. So, yeah.
Thank you. This was number 14. Okay. This is number 15. Do you have any slides? Oh, yes. I got it. Okay, number 15.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alice Herzog, and I'm a provenance researcher at the Völkerkunde Museum in Zurich. And like many ethnographic museums, we're at a kind of crossroads trying to figure out where do we go and how do we deal with the colonial collections. So this challenge is based on a really concrete problem that I have, very practical, very real-life problem. I've just been hired into this museum to develop ethnographic provenance research. So to develop collaborative projects with concerned communities. But no one knows what's in this museum. There's no permanent collection, and the database is not online. So currently, if you want to have an idea of what's in the museum, you have to find a curator's email, send them an email with a specific question, and then if you're lucky, you'll get a PDF back with a list of what's in the collection. So this means that I could spend a lot of time doing provenance research on my own in my corner, but what I need is a kind of tool that enables me to communicate that with what's happening outside. Currently, if you want to get a sense of where the collections come from, you have to find this publication that was published before I was born, that has some paper cartography that you can go through. It took me weeks to find this in the museum itself. So what do I need? I need a solution, a creative solution that communicates to the general public and to concerned communities where the collections come from and roughly during which period they arrived in the museum. In the meantime, I've been kind of pushing, lobbying for the fact that we really should bring the collection online. That will happen, but it's going to take us time. It might require us shifting to a new collection management software and will require resources. So what I want is a kind of in-between solution that I could use to establish dialogues with people outside of the museums. A little bit of inspiration, for example, the kind of cartography by Philip Rekavich recently on Cameroonian collections, or we were contacted here up in the corner, Explore the Map, by a project from SOAS, and that's part of the Filipino diaspora in Switzerland that's mapping Filipino heritage. But also there have been past projects here at the GLAMhack, thank you, Janice, for identifying some for me, that we could lean on doing this. Yeah. Some of the difficulties, so the data we've provided is basically the basic data fields from the inventory, so that's 57,000 entries with information about the continent, region, country they come from, and the corresponding ISO codes. And on my side, the kind of outlook that I see and what we could do over the next 2 days is kind of a lot of open thinking, a lot of creative ideas that could set us on different paths as we think about how to bring these collections online, and which could be developed further together depending on available resources. So basically, I really need your help. This is a very practical problem that I have at the moment, and I'm really counting on some of you guys coming on board and assisting me on thinking through this process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're now back to Beat, I think. He's here, okay. Number 16.
Yeah, so number 16 is actually a challenge that could plug in with many other challenges or many other projects that might be pursued in the course of this hackathon. It's about a Wikidata-based approach for the description of heritage collections. It's an approach that has been tested mostly on archives about persons, that we have a way of actually pointing to archives, archival holdings from Wikidata, and then kind of use this information also in discovery systems to actually bring them up. And this approach can be generalized on to a variety of different kinds of holdings. We have already created a property that's called documentation files at, where you could not only reference archival holdings, but also documentation. We can do it for object collections. We can do it for video recordings, audio recordings, and then of course not only link it in from persons, but also from organizations, from groups, from events, from performing arts productions, from anything you like. It's an approach that works inside out for the individual institutions. You can work from your catalog, from your keywords, enrich them by Wikidata identifiers, and then push this information to Wikidata so we can actually see from the outside what is inside. Or you can turn the whole thing around, and I think that's the very powerful part of it. You can also have this outside-in perspective. So as long as you know an inventory number of an institution, or ideally they have landing pages in their online finding aids or in their online catalogs, you can just come along and start kind of linking their collections or their collection items to the keywords, to the respective keywords on Wikidata. So it's open to all, and we're also thinking about pushing applications making use of that to very visible places. So if you're interested in this approach, if you're interested in exploring it also in your project, just talk to me. It doesn't need to be right up front now. It can be also later on during the hackathon. And if you'd like to help us promote that approach more widely, please talk to me. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to handle it, but I think I will ask Lionel to put the number 16 over there, so I don't have to split between these rooms.
Okay. Now number 17, Florian.
Hi, it's me again and again. To present you a challenge, we spoke about it earlier with the data set of the Bibliothèque de Genève. Actually, Éloi Comtesse and me, we spoke about those collections we have here at MEG, the objects of this Village Noir, quite a weird collection and problematic one, and all the images that are under the bibliothèque responsibility that has been scanned and offered, liberated for this GLAMhack. And I made a search on the internet to realize that there is no Wikidata dedicated to the Geneva Universal, National Exhibition in 1896, sorry. And nor about this famous Parc de Plaisance, which was this Luna Park, as we could call it now, with human exhibited. Not only people from Africa, but people from everywhere in the world. And they were exotized, you said that in English, and visitors could entertain themselves inside this huge park. So it's quite simple. We just like to organize content that could document properly all those images, objects, and tell this story, and connected with other contents that are already existing, dedicated to human zoo on Wikimedia, for example, that we know. We also know a lot of contents on the internet that are really problematic because they're not well labeled. The images are circulating without any descriptions that are decolonial or, well written. So that's what we were offering to you today also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Number 18.
Hello, my name is Susanna Ones, and I come from Avoin Glam, like a similar organization, like working group in Helsinki, who works with Open Knowledge Finland. And
my name is Sadek Shahadu, coming all the way from Ghana, and I work with the Living Heritage team on. So I'll be talking more with Sujana on Wikilab's Living Heritage.
So actually, Sadiq already introduced them. Let's give context first. So we both came here because we wanted to link the project Wikilab's Living Heritage to this GLAMhack and find something to collaborate with. Well, we have talked with local contexts that we would like to find a way to add traditional knowledge labels to Wikimedia Commons. And Corey Rowe from Local Contexts is available for collaborative hacking this afternoon, that we can think about it together. And as we were discussing last night, this could be like a meta-level hack in a way that we don't need to necessarily manage to put them all the way through to Commons, because it's also a very extensive social discussion. How can a new thing be introduced in Wikimedia Commons? And this is actually what the hack should be about. Like, what are all the hurdles that need to be overcome to manage to put them there? So to put these all things together, we also want to, we are number 20, introducing number 20 at the same time. So we wish to produce blog post into this context of this Wikilab's Living Heritage project about all the things that are produced here, the good practices that there are created to manage these kinds of collections and materials online. And actually, I missed the point. I have 30 seconds to tell. Wikilab's Living Heritage is a wiki initiative. Oh, I have to read it here. That pays tribute to the 20th anniversary of the UNESCO 2003 Convention for the safeguarding of the intangible cultural heritage, and it brings together these focal points, which are the governmental actors and the Wikimedians and their affiliates around the world, to do things together and import data on which more activities can be done. Thank you.
Okay, this was number 18 and 20. Yes. So number 19.
I am Sonja Gasser from the Stiftung für Kunst, Kultur und Geschichte in Winterthur, and I propose a challenge here to create a web app with two data sets from our collection in a way. The Stiftung für Kunst, Kultur und Geschichte, or in brief SKKG, owns the Grandson Castle at the Lake Neuchâtel, and there has been made recently a 3D model, and that's one dataset I can propose for this hackathon. And then there is also one of the world's major crossbow collections, which is also part of our collection. And the crossbow collection is usually also located in the Grandson Castle, but currently the castle is renovated until 2026, so the collection is in the deposits. But it's nonetheless the best, or in our collection, the part of the collection which is best documented. So on the one hand, it's certainly in our collection database, so I bring you as well the CSV with the metadata. We have the images as JPEGs, And there is also, or there are documentation sheets for each of the objects, which means there are 160 crossbows in the collection, but about 300 objects, because there are as well the arrows, for example. And in these documentation sheets, there are description texts, but also references to literature, to other related objects from other collections, and also description text that situates the object in the historical and cultural context. And so these documents are available as Word documents and PDFs, which means there is a vast amount of information about the whole collection, but currently it's mainly interesting for specialists, I would say, and the challenge is to find a way how this material can be used to make it more accessible, maybe to also a broad audience. And there are different possible things that can be made. It could be a serious game, for example, that uses the GLAMhack castle because it's in virtual reality, or it could be a data visualization with the crossbows, with the images, but also the metadata, or something with storytelling, where you bring together, ideally, the castle with the crossbow collection. So if somebody is interested in this material, it's very welcome if you join the group, and then we can find a solution what it could do with this rich data.
Thank you. This was number 20. Before we come to the expectation management and finding your team, we have one spontaneous challenge, I think, from Sandra Becker. Do you have any slides? Is it okay if I leave it like this open? Or okay. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I work for Wikimedia Switzerland. I'm the GLAM lead, and I worked this year on the new definition of museums. Some of you might have seen that video. It's on Wiki Commons. It's called New Museums Definition. And the definition shows that the focus is changing right now. We have a big challenge. It puts the focus on the people rather than on the object. So my project or my idea is to produce audio files about how people perceive objects, which is like a spontaneous thing as well. The idea is really to go with the microphone to the objects and ask the audience, what feelings do you have? Yeah, especially when we talk about decolonialization and its objects, you might have fear, you might have anger, and to record that. Later to put these audio files on Wiki Commons and to use that for a research project together with a researcher at the university in London. We do collect other data for that as well from video, and the idea is not to just make videos and show things, but also to use this more emotional approach and to later be able to do it also for scientific research and to put subjects up as invisible labor, as vulnerability, and really put the people, the audience into the center. That's my idea. Much later, if all this works out, I don't know, the idea would be also to make a little app to get it out of the desktop where people can trace certain objects and then look at the stories and make their own mind. So it's a different approach on that, and I would be really happy if somebody's interested in that because I plan it as a bigger project for next year. So please approach me, and also very happy to listen to all your projects because I see at some project this also fits. But I thought I present it here so we can see where we have crossings. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. So I think this slide for this year is one of the most important, the expectation management. So if your challenge now doesn't get chosen, please stay, help, or I would even say merge maybe your challenge with another challenge because there are a lot of challenges. So I would say now, please, it's time to find your team. In the foyer, there are challenges. Here are challenges. Approach the challenge owner, talk with each other, and have fun.